Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about meta platforms. A stock that is being discussed a lot these days is a very trendy one for the wrong reasons potentially. It's going down quite a lot. And it actually reached the price that I bought it at about 2 years ago. I bought it at the previous crash, pretty much at the COVID era. And right now it's sitting at about the same price. Now, back then the stock was very undervalued when I bought it, and right now it is basically in insane undervalued territory. And I have made videos about it, I have talked about it, but I kind of wanted to take a little bit of a holistic view at what is happening using the new tools and pretty much all the tools that we have here in our disposal for in our stock analysis tool, and kind of see why this is happening and what is the potential for this company. Now, if we take a look at the stock news here, you will kind of see that there are quite a few articles here talking about jumping on the metaverse bandwagon here, or don't find the bearish trend, or 3 reasons to buy. Things are very normal for a company, and articles that are published about that. And also some news pieces like Meta launches online store to purchase clothes for your avatar. Meta stock drops over 4%. This what happened yesterday, despite settling basically. And I was curious to see what happened here and why that 4% drop. And if you weren't aware of what happened yesterday and why there was this insane 4% drop, you will see that the Justice Department announced basically yesterday that it has settled with Meta Platforms, formerly known as Facebook, in a lawsuit over a violation of the Fair Housing Act. And this was some sort of an algorithmic discrimination, supposedly being sort of like, you can call it sort of like a racist discrimination potentially, about the housing advertising system, pretty much discriminating potentially based on race, color, and things of that sort. Now, take a look at this one. The fine that Meta had to pay was $115,000. That's like a drop in the ocean for for Meta. It's basically nothing. It's as if I'm paying like $1. It's like I'm having a $1 fine myself. It's very little money. It's basically negligible. Yet the stock went down over 4% just because of that. And you can see what kind of sentiment there is right now. At any sort of bad news, people are sorting the stock. They are selling the stock. And pretty much you are looking at a very negative sentiment. Take a look at this chart here, or what is happening. And so this is why people feel that Meta is a strong buy, of course, because the financials of it are super strong, yet the company stock price seems to be going down and down. People hate the stock right now, and this is when I love the stock, and this is when I would definitely look into buying. Now, I am full of Facebook. It's actually my top holding, and so I cannot really add more to my portfolio. But if I didn't own Facebook, I would definitely rush to get some more of that right now, and I will explain why. Now, if we take a look at the social trends here, the module that we have, you will see that while the sentiment is negative, more negative, I guess, than yesterday, this kind of shows you, as you'll see here, whether there's negative or positive activity for the most part. So this becomes a little bit of a negative sentiment, you would expect. But you will see that the activity is actually way higher right now, both on Twitter and stock tweets. So this basically points to a company that is very trendy right now, discussed a lot. Probably for the wrong reasons again, but it doesn't really matter. This is interesting because it can be a fantastic opportunity for a buying opportunity in this case. Now, if we take a little bit of a closer look at another new module that I have created for the tool here, and this is still a work in progress, but you can kind of see what kind of insider sales there have been. And what I mostly care about is not so much the sales, but the purchases. I want to see whether a director or anybody really is purchasing stock right now, which could be interesting. Now, sales can happen for also all sorts of reasons. Of course, you don't want to see everybody like dumping the stock, but of course, remember that sometimes stock is awarded to people. It's like compensation potentially, and you can kind of see, for instance, restricted stock units being sold here, and that's why the price is zero, because they were awarded. They were an award. But if you take a look at the sales here, these are actually sales of securities on an exchange or to another person, basically. So these are actual sales of like 700,000, 66,000. They're not tremendously much, but you will see this one is 1.8 million here, maybe a little bit more, but it's actually back in May 23. Now, what I do want to do is actually search for a P, like a purchase. And you don't see any of those here. Like you will see in other companies that you can take a look at that there may be some purchasing. And I'm actually a little bit surprised that I'm not seeing extra purchases here from insiders. But I did want to just take a look and see whether actually, any directors or any insiders really are actually buying the stock right now. It doesn't look like that's the case, which does surprise me, yes, but it doesn't mean too much. Generally speaking, it may just be a neutral sign. Really, they're just fearful. They just may not want to buy right now, or they may have a lot of stock already potentially. Now, the next thing that I want to examine, of course, about the company is what are analysts thinking about it. And I do have some price targets here from some articles. Actually, in this module, you can kind of pretty much click on this and see the actual article that was actually written about Meta and the price target here, which is 290 in this case. And if you go back to our tool, you will kind of see it here, 290. The price when the article was posted was $175, which means that there was an implied move of about 65%. And 290, $300, somewhere around that price, I think is actually what is fair for Facebook, frankly. And we can actually deduce that by taking a look at the stock evaluation tool here, which kind of tells us what the company is worth given some potential projections here. And I will go low. You will see that the revenue growth of Facebook or Meta has been tremendous. It has been growing tremendously well over the years, and it doesn't look to be slowing down too much. Of course, we're going to be having some lower quarters, some lower years, especially in this kind of environment. But overall, it seems to be growing very nicely, and it's been doing revenues of 40 billion back in 2017, and right now it's doing 118. This is insane growth here, absolutely tremendous. And let's just say that I go 8%, 10%, and 12%, which is very, very little compared to what the company has been doing. And the net income margins that I'm going to use are going to be 30, 32, and 34 between these ranges. And the same thing with the free cash flow margins. I'm going to go 90, 95, and 100 here. And if we take a look at the annual return, let's just say 30% is what I want to typically be making here. If I hit calculate here, you will see that everything is in the green. And I think that around the medium is when it makes the most sense right now, 270, with a revenue growth of 10%, just 10%, that's the yearly, the annual one. Net income margin of 32 and free cash flow margin of 95 here is what makes a ton of sense. So somewhere in between, I think, is where the stock price should be right now, basically. And it's currently sitting at 157, so even at our low estimates here, it is still a buy. And I think if I just set it up as a 0% revenue growth over here, we are marginally red here. This is very marginal. The current price is 157, so this is practically speaking a green as well. With the 0% revenue growth for the next 5 years, this is basically a no-brainer to me. Pretty much purchasing the company. This is a fantastic company doing amazingly well, and it is extremely cheap. And take a look at, again, the stock analysis module here, which tells us some more things about the key metrics here and the percentages, which are amazing, as you can see. And take a look at this return on equity. Without the company even having a lot of debt, as you'll see, the company has practically no debt here. Take a look at these margins as well. Things are looking fantastic here, and I really don't see why somebody wouldn't buy this company. Everything is in the green, and the price to free cash flow ratio at 11 and going down tremendously, as you will see, and the price to earnings ratio at 12, again going down tremendously because the company is getting cheaper and cheaper. And so the P ratio of a company like Facebook or Meta is currently sitting at 11.9, and this is a very, very large growth tech company, of course, which is bound to grow much, much more in the future. So let's take a look at a company that is a large behemoth, a company like Walmart here, for example, just to compare with what their valuation is in terms of the PE, for example, or the price to free cash flow, which is 26 and 30. So it's almost 3 times as much as Facebook is, 2.5 or so, which is insane. I mean, a company of this sort is a company that doesn't grow much. You can compare the growth here and in terms of the revenue and net income and everything, and it's still way more expensive than Facebook. I mean, if Facebook is sitting at 12 PE, this would be like 8 or 7 in comparison. So that is absolutely insane to me, and these are some of the reasons why I feel Meta is basically insane right now, and it's a very, very strong buy for me. And again, you should remember that the current market sentiment, whatever happens in the market for the day or for the week or for the month or even for a year, can be temporary and can be down for a little while, but overall you're looking to be buying the gems, the ones that have been suppressed and they're still doing great in terms of their financials. These are the companies that you would want to hold, and not the ones that are not doing great and maybe even going higher or just going marginally lower. So you want the gems that are being neglected by the public. You want to accumulate them when the time comes, and that's the time right now, I feel. So thank you for watching the video. Remember to like and subscribe, and if you want to get access to this tool here, remember that you can always become a patron. You can find links in the description box below this video. We'd like to see you, and also you can join our Discord channel. We are talking about all these companies pretty much every day, having nice discussions. We'd love to see you there. Thank you for watching the video, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.